Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel, welcome if you are new. My name is Emma. This is one of those random midweek videos where the news annoyed me, so I had to talk about it. And the news today, of course, is that Jeff Landry, Louisiana's Republican governor, just signed into law an order to display the Ten Commandments in every classroom. You know, I got some thoughts and feelings about that. So apparently this governs all classrooms up to university level. They're sort of trying to describe it. It's supposed to come with you've got the Ten Commandments and then a poster of sort of historical context. I wonder how much context they're going to maintain for that. Probably not as much as I would like. Otherwise, it might be quite an interesting thing to have on the wall of some classrooms. They're sort of describing it as like a historical, sort of political item of interest, which, if that was the case, rather than it being what it obviously is, which is a religious document, it would make more sense to put the Constitution on the wall of every classroom. You know, if it was just about its importance as the, the moral beginnings of our country or whatever. It's not that. It's a religious thing. And it's not a religious thing that anyone... Right, here's the thing. And this annoys me so much. The kind of person who thinks that having the Ten Commandments on the wall of every school, courtroom, whatever, every building, whatever, the kind of person that thinks that that's a brilliant idea and respectful to God and blah, 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 that kind of person does not know what the Ten Commandments are. They start to flounder after, thou shalt not steal. They don't know where to find them in the Bible. Because this is blatantly unconstitutional, right? I mean, I'm not an expert in US law, clearly. Phoebe Rose is going to be in the comments educating us all. Just wait for her. She's coming. There's a little thing, right? There's a little thing, this First Amendment, that mentions something about a separation of church and state. And as much as you can try and parade the Ten Commandments as some sort of important historical event, an event which is mythological, much as you can try somehow to pretend it's some sort of important historical thing, the commandments are largely about worshipping God. They make reference to worshipping God and the necessity of that. How can that not be a religious matter, a church matter, and therefore surely not enforceable by the state? I foresee this being successfully challenged, right? Because there's already civil liberties groups like going after it, taking up arms and saying, no, look, this is preposterous. Obviously, this is a violation of the First Amendment. We're going to challenge this. Jeff Landry and his Republican compatriots, they aren't idiots. They know that the First Amendment exists and they know that this is clearly going to be challenged and it's probably not going to succeed. So what's the purpose? Is it just that it's an easy, cheap, a free way of doing something completely ineffectual, something that will make no change, something that is free and pointless, just to jazz up your base, just to get your Republican voters excited and to drum up some good publicity without having to spend any money? You know, it's a win-win if that's what you're trying to do, I guess. Part of me, the little conspiratorial part of my brain, wonders if this isn't part of a game almost, to see how far can we push theocratic law before enough people will stand against it. I read a dystopian novel a while ago that had a bunch of US states as their own independent countries, and it's starting to not sound that far-fetched. Top Pokemon, love that Pokemon. I love a leak, what can I say? I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Time will tell, but I don't think this will go anywhere. To me, it just feels like a pointless argument generator. It'll get supporters of it all jazzed up because, yes, more God, please, more God in schools, enforce God everywhere. And then people who prefer religious freedom and the Constitution will get riled up fighting it. And then those two groups will... I don't know. There's got to be some sort of political gain here, because otherwise what is the point? It just feels redundant. Ultimately, as much as it's a symbol, and a symbol that I strongly disagree with, putting a poster on the wall of every classroom doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really change anything. He's not making Louisiana a better place by signing this into law. He being Jeff Landry. Sorry, Jeff Landry. Who's he? The cat's father? I've never heard it said that way. Interesting. Shall we have a look, just as a little treat, at the Ten Commandments? So the Ten Commandments first appear in Exodus. Ten Commandments, chapter 20. So Moses has gone up Mount Sinai. God is like, hello, I have some rules. Could you please go and tell the Israelites my very important good rules? Most of which are about me and making me important. And he probably said it in that exact voice, because you know God's like a valley girl. Oh my God, could you please tell everyone to worship me because I'm really special and important. Oh my God. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. That's number one. So immediately, that's a problem for religious freedom. If you happen to be a member of a different religion. If there's a Hindu student at a school in Louisiana, that's going to be a problem. Number two. You shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands who love me and keep my commandments. Guys, I swear I'm really, I can be so... He's such a toxic boyfriend. If you just do what I say and obey all my rules, I will love you so hard. But if you happen to love somebody else, it's not just you that's gonna suffer, okay? What an absolute prick. I'm sorry, I just don't think a lot of people read the Ten Commandments. I don't think a lot of people read the Bible that their most important valued rules come from. And I think it's interesting to read it verbatim. Well, verbatim, as much as we can, and this is the English Standard Version that I use, just so you know. It's my favourite version, I find it the easiest to read. Argue with me in the comments if you will. I don't care. I don't even care, because I'm like a god and I'm really special. So immediately this is a problem, right? And different religious groups have identified with this in different ways, right? In Islam, there are no images, full stop, which appears to be a more literal adherence to God's law. In Catholicism, Catholicism's my favourite. It's so absurd the way that they use dogma and stuff to just not obey the rules of their own God. It's bizarre, but they claim that they focus on icons and images and not idols, even though they fucking pray to statues of the Virgin Mary every day. That's so it tickles me. It tickles me. But yeah, in theory, you could interpret this such that if your school or whatever building your Ten Commandments are on has a statue of Jesus, as my school did when I was a youth, you could be breaking the Ten Commandments right there. If you take them, just out of the box, which if you're getting just a list of the Ten Commandments, that's probably what you are doing, right? So, immediate problems, graven images, but again, that is one of the ones that nobody remembers when they're like, yeah, the Ten Commandments, we should all follow them. What are they again? Don't steal and don't kill anyone, I think. Fucking hell. That was 2. That was a long one because God always likes to ramble a little bit about his jealousy. He gets really funny about being a jealous God. Number 3, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Again, it's just another jealous, self-serving one. There's no point to that. Again, just having these commandments as a moral standard, taking the Lord's name in vain is just, I guess, if you just believe that the Bible in every form is divinely inspired, then you'd think that is moral, but it doesn't help or hinder humanity. It doesn't actually hurt people. The worst it could do is if you believe in God, it would hurt his feelings. And that doesn't strike me as an all-powerful, superior being who can have his feelings hurt by you saying, Jesus Christ, So, got my own problems with that one, but whatever, it's fine. Here's another one of my favourites that just Christianity ignores, has forgotten, despite wanting to display the Ten Commandments everywhere. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labour and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male servant or your female servant, or your livestock. If you got a goat that looks like it's getting to work, you better sort that shit out, okay? Or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. How many Christians do you know who have worked on the Sabbath day? I'm going to take a stab at all. Not your son or your daughter. That means surely extra schooling, homework. Of course everybody breaks that law, but they want it inscribed. And this is one where it's basically like a catch-all for whatever people want to say has changed from the Old Testament, but they say the new covenant has, changed this, and that's why it's, it's for Jewish people to worry about that. It's not a Christian thing anymore. But then why do you want the 10 Commandments on your wall? This is one of God's 10 most holy important laws that you apparently want displayed in classrooms everywhere. But if you're breaking one and you're saying that it's fine to break that, then what is the point? Do you see my purpose in reading them? Honour your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Even if they're abusive wankers. Tough titties, says God. You shall not murder. Oh, good one, at last, thank you. Yeah, let's put that one in bold, shall we? You shall not commit adultery. It's not quite on the same level as murder in my opinion, but good, nice, yeah. You shall not steal. Excellent, love that. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbour. Love that. I think there's probably quite a significant number of Christian Republicans that have broken that commandment as well, but we shall say no more of it. You shall not covet your neighbour's house. You shall not covet your neighbour's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbour's. With the delightful, subtle, well, not that subtle, implication that your neighbour's wife belongs to your neighbour, with all of his other things. Don't you just love the Old Testament? Don't you just love the Bible? What a good message to put on the walls for children. Do not covet. Again, everybody breaks this, because if even the Lord your God cannot help but feel jealous, of course human beings cannot help but feel jealous. Apparently we were made in God's image, I guess it's his fault then. So there's like 4 or 5 reasonable good ones in there, which are the ones that people remember, and why people think of this as the moral standard. Because it says stuff that, let's be honest, shouldn't need to be said. Shouldn't need to be delivered from God to Moses to the Israelites, like, don't murder. Thanks, God. We never would have thought of that. It's not like there was any society, any group of people that thought that was a bad idea before God came along and reminded us. It just feels weird to have coveting on the list of top 10 things alongside don't murder. Like, don't steal the things that your neighbour has because you're jealous of them. But don't even feel the jealousy. Don't even want those things. And like, that is such a traditional US picket fence kind of culture, I feel like, is the keeping up with the neighbours thing, which is the antithesis of that commandment, which is so interesting. So your number one, top of the list, main thing, maybe not more important, maybe they're meant to be all equally important, but it's the thing that he thought to tell us all first. Definitely in opposition to the First Amendment, right? It's about specifically worshipping me, this God, no others, okay? So, right off the bat, you get to reading number 1, and you'd be like, this doesn't seem legal. Number 2, no graven images or likenesses. People break that all the time. If you're a Catholic and you find a way to pretend that it's fine, whatever, but realistically, every Christian, breaks that. How many pictures of Jesus have you seen in Christian houses? Come on. Don't take the Lord's name in vain. Most people do that. Some Christians don't do that and have a problem with it because God said no, so fine. Remember the Sabbath day. Every Christian breaks that. Every Christian says that it's fine because New Covenant. But it's in the 10 Commandments that they want to put on the wall of every school. Honour thy father and mother. I mean, this is a school for children. So the parents probably think that it's really good to put that up there, but how much is that going to actually affect their kids, right? So whatever. Don't murder, don't steal, don't covet. whatever. The coveting one is also stupid, and everybody breaks that because you're a human being with emotions. You can't help having them, and feeling guilt over them is a problem with this kind of teaching, right? Whatever, you can't help it. That's like at least 3, probably 4, the people who want this on the wall of every school are breaking every day. Not every day. You can't break the Sabbath every day. By its very nature, you have to break it maximum once a week. They're breaking all the time. At least 4, right? 3 or 4. No other gods before me. No graven images. Not taking the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day because the Lord made the world in 6 days. That's at least 4 that are directly religious, directly referencing, well, at this point, Judaism, but also now Christianity. So that's at least 4 of the 10 that are absolutely specifically religious in nature, and therefore shouldn't be on display in a school because separation of church and state. It's completely ludicrous. It's ludicrous to follow them, in my opinion. It's ludicrous to think that these are some kind of moral standard when they're split between don't murder and, like, don't upset me because I'm jealous. It's clearly against the Constitution. I just can't see this as anything other than a freebie to jazz up your political base, right? I can't see any other point to this. Distraction to get people mad at each other, to see how far you can push a theocratic law before people start to push back. Something like that. There's no logical reason to want to put these in schools. In all schools up to university level. It's fucking mental. I think it's going to get challenged and shut down in, like, no time. That's my prediction. We'll see how that goes. Let me know your thoughts, especially if you know more about the Constitution and US law. If there's, if there is some sort of route to this being possibly legal, then let me know, because I don't know what anyone's thinking other than, yeah, just like 3 points for your base. If you like this video, give it a cheeky like, do a cheeky comment. Maybe even subscribe so you see more of the videos from me, my videos. Thank you. If you like what I do and you do want to support this channel, you can become a channel member. Or a chicken. Or both, if you really want to. You can become a channel member. Right here, you get some silly little emotes and comment priority, and you get a little chickie next to your name, which is really cute. Check out the description for links to things like my Ko-fi and my gaming channel and all my other fun stuff. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon. With that, I must give a big old thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon. Most importantly, have yourself a very lovely week. Don't be coveting your neighbour's new shit, alright? Or God will be really upset. He's very easily disturbed. And I will see you really soon.